We are going to talk about the best wedding venues in the Bend, Oregon and surrounding area. I have Eli Roberts here. He's located in Bend, Oregon. He's an amazing wedding and elopement photographer and an expert out there. And so we're going to talk about his top, I think, 6 wedding venues. What's number 1 for you?
So number 1 for me would be Subtle Lake Lodge. They've gone through some transition, I think, with their wedding management because they're pretty small.
Yeah.
It feels like a summer camp for adults.
Yeah.
I mean, it's around the lake.
What do
really
you like
cool.
about it?
Someone
One?
purchased it recently, like in the last 5-6 years, I think, because I've been here 6 years, and it went over into new ownership. And I mean, it has Ace Hotel chain vibes attached to it, and so it's got little green cabins you can stay in that just have a bed and a heater, and then it's got some larger cabins that are really nice with a kitchen, and then it's got the lodge, and so you can fit a lot of people there.
Turn it into a weekend event kind of thing? Like get married on a Saturday, guests show up, and it kind of then does turn into a family camp?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'll go stay out there in the summer, and it's just like they've got a dock, and then you can paddleboard. In the summer, they don't necessarily do weddings. They'll do them on the shoulder seasons, which is the only issue. So spring and fall. They might do winter too, possibly. But they went through some new transitions where they were using a coordinating company out of, I think, Portland's, and then it was kind of expensive.
Yeah.
Then they started using Events by Mint, a local company, and so it's a lot more affordable. Yeah, they're
so
awesome.
They just teamed up with a local planner and said, "Hey, run all the weddings for us."
Yeah, because their staff's just big enough to have a kitchen in a hotel, basically.
Yeah.
And so, but it's just beautiful. I mean, it's a gorgeous place. But yeah, so it's become a lot more accessible in this last year. So a lot more weddings are happening out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great spot to have everybody stay, enjoy yourself.
Are there
really
any open areas, or are you pretty much socked into the woods? And then if you get close to the lake
there's
edge,
a beach.
Open up.
There's one beach that just looks straight out onto the lake.
Yeah.
And so that's a good spot to have a ceremony. And I'm not sure of their numbers, but I think I shot a 150 person wedding out there. They might go to 200 people, possibly.
Yeah.
So you can go big or small. But yeah, that's my number 1 right now. Probably one of my favorites, and the one I really want to shoot at more. And I've got I think I have one more this year. I did one last year, and it's just gorgeous. I mean, you can't really find that too many places.
That's so interesting. Now I got to deep dive into it more.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to add to that for Subtle?
No, I mean, I say, go look at it, maybe stay the night in the little cabins. It's really neat. And at one point, I don't know if they're still on there, but they put Traegers on every deck, which is kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, little Traeger grills.
Little smokers?
Trying to look at my photos and see if they're still on there. It's hard to tell. I can't zoom in on mine, but yeah, they did that like 2 years ago, I think it was. And so even the little green cabins would have a Traeger on it, and not so much of a kitchen, but you could smoke something. So,
okay, so that's number 1. What is your second top venue?
Number 1 is that one. Number 2 is House on Metolius.
Okay.
So these are from Central Bend, Subtle Lake's probably 30 minutes, and then House on Metolius is another. It's kind of about 30, 40 minutes. It's just a little north of Subtle Lake.
Yeah.
And it's on the river, and it's a house. There's a pretty large house it almost looks like a small hotel because it has, just down the hall, I think it's 4 or 5 bedrooms in a row. And then there's the main house on a cliff. It overlooks the Metolius River and a big field, and usually there's some cattle out there. And then you're looking right at, is it Three Finger Jack? Is that the mountain?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think that's the mountain. You've got Washington, Three Finger Jack, then Jefferson. So it looks right at it. And then a lot of people get married in the field right up by the river.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple other homes. So I've got a wedding out there where I'm staying for the weekend, and I'll stay in like a little cabin. You know, they
do guests stay on site then? Is this also?
Yeah, I'm not sure of the full amount. You might be able to camp out there. I'm not sure if you can do that anymore. But there's a good amount of places to stay. I think you can fit at
hop
least
over to like Black Butte if you wanted to, or you can grab some places, some Forest Service.
Yeah, Black Butte would be like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right outside of Camp Sherman.
Yep.
So the little town of Camp Sherman. but it's gorgeous. I mean, it's a beautiful home, beautiful property, and a lot of space. I mean, you can have your ceremony at a few different spots and your reception somewhere else. But back when I had a beer truck, we were out on the lawn there, and we did a lot of events out there.
Yeah.
And so,
And if you like fly fishing, it's a killer area. I had a couple who got married at
yeah,
Black Butte, and her whole family fly fish. And they, the day before, and her husband now, all went fly fishing on the Metolius.
cool.
It's very serenic and Camp
Yeah, you
Sherman,
feel like you're
fly
out
fishing shop
in
there
the
is
middle of
awesome,
nowhere.
and yeah,
Yeah, it
and
could.
it's
I mean,
fly
you feel like
fishing
you're in
only.
like Jackson. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it barbs or barbless or?
I'd
Do
imagine
you
it's
know?
barbless. They probably don't want you
Yeah, probably.
ripping barbs through the
Yeah.
fish's mouth. But yeah, so
Yeah.
if you're into that too, it's just this nice thing, and it's so picturesque. It's so picturesque. Super clear water.
Hmm.
So house on the Metolius. Again,
Yeah.
you're really socked into the woods there, but then they do have that beautiful open field where the river cuts
Hmm.
through.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unique. You know, like you would think there's not a property for a while, and I don't think there is.
Yeah.
You
And
feel
you
pretty
can't really see
secluded.
it from the road either. It's really tucked back there privately.
Yeah. I'm not sure about like midwinter what they do
Yeah.
because they probably get a good amount of snow, but yeah, I'd reach out and see. But yeah, it's an amazing place. So,
Perfect.
and then yeah, going down the list here, next for me would probably be Brasada,
Okay.
which is Brasada and Pronghorn are both east instead of west. We're talking about northwest. They're east about 30 minutes.
Yep.
So Brasada is got a barn, so it's kind of got a ranch vibe,
Yep.
and it's a community, and it's beautiful. There's always horses out when you drive in,
Yeah.
and
Because you got horses out there, you got golfing. It's a resort, so a lot
yeah,
of people can go stay. They can get room blocks if they want. There's a pool, so you can turn it into
yeah.
a
There's
weekend easily.
that bridge, right? Do you know the history on that bridge?
Like the one
I'm
that
not sure of
we
it.
go out and take photos on, and a golf cart
Yeah,
comes
I mean
and
it's
things
that's
just like
what you
shaking
use it
like
for,
crazy
right?
and super loud. Yeah, yeah. What
But
is it? An old
it
train?
looks like an old rail. It looks like an old railroad bridge, but
Yeah.
I don't know what it was for. But under it's got really cool wood slats,
Yep.
and
To go down there
um,
and film or shoot.
yeah, and then there's just junipers everywhere, which is
Yep.
pretty. Um,
I love the
and then yeah,
barn
tons
too.
of little cabins. What's that?
Oh, I love the barn. I love just that look and that feel
Yeah.
and that open space they have that then opens up into the backyard that then just kind of
Yep.
overlooks everything. Is really nice.
Yeah, so they've got the big rustic barn that's really nice inside, modern. But then they also got the range too, which is really pretty. The range is on the other side of like the restaurant,
Okay,
and
interesting.
yeah, the range is like it's a whole
Are you
other
talking
like
about it's a dip away where I do that's where
yeah,
I've
it
done
goes yeah, you go
ceremonies. We'll
down
do it
then
out in
up.
that field
Yeah,
and then come back to
it's
the
called the
barn.
range of the Grange. Yeah, and so that's a real nice spot too. A lot of people have ceremonies there.
Yeah.
Some will stay there. There's like a good fire pit out there.
That
But
is
the
really
the cooks
nice.
out there are awesome. A lot of
Yeah.
skillet cooking and a lot of barbecue. But yeah, and then I mean, tons of places to stay. You know, they've got their own rentals, and then there's probably Airbnbs too, I think.
Yeah.
But
I would
there's a lot of
imagine.
homes to stay in or little cabins you can stay in. And they have a pool as well.
Yeah.
If you're doing a summer wedding, I don't know how that works. I think if you stay there, you can play at the pool, but little water slide.
Yeah, Posada is that
Yeah,
great option for whenever I've had couples get married out there. What they like about it is a lot of people, I feel like they want to go somewhere, they want to invite their friends and family from all over, and then on top
hmm
of that, they want to create a space where they can all hang out and be together for multiple days. And
yeah,
Posada is really conducive to that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Great food and yeah, good vibe. It's like
Perfect.
a high desert oasis kind of. It's
Very
just there's
much.
nothing out there but ranches, and
So
then
different than like Metolius or
yeah,
Subtle
a lot more.
Lake
Yeah,
Lodge.
Pronghorn and Brasada are more structured for sure.
Yeah.
Like around events, like they've got a full staff that's dedicated to just that, you know,
Yeah.
for events. But yeah, the next to that would be Pronghorn,
So number
and
4 for you
Pronghorn
is going to be
is
Pronghorn.
yeah, they've got they're basically 15 minutes before you get to Brasada, you cut off into the desert and you drive another like 10 minutes on this windy road. You feel like never ends, and then you come to this like just this square cutout in the middle of the desert around these junipers of a resort. And I think they've got 2 golf courses, and then beautiful property. They just built a hotel, the
Yeah.
Huntington Lodge, which the rooms are phenomenal. They just look right out at the Cascades, and then there's a new pool there. And then they've got the island for the ceremonies. And then if you have smaller ceremonies, you can get married in the caves, which there's two caves that converge. And you've been out there, right? To the caves. Have you been
I
there?
have not been to Pronghorn yet. I've seen the photos though.
Okay. Yeah. So like the caves, they're huge. We did a styled shoot inside one of the caves. We set up a whole ceremony and, but yeah, like you can walk into them pretty far. It's where you can't see. It's so dark. But I want to say the big one is probably 15, 20 feet tall on the entrance,
Yeah.
and then about 30 feet to like the cliff. So I love shooting out there. So it's beautiful, and they maintain the grass. They keep it green out there, and but yeah, the two caves come together, and you can shoot in both. And it's pretty cool.
That's so interesting.
I think you tee off over the cave, maybe, but it's never like a problem, and I've never seen anyone playing when I'm out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's about you got to get a golf cart to get out there from the resort. But yeah, they've just revamped to their interior. Usually it's a tent in the summer on the lawn for the reception, but they just remodeled their indoor area. They opened it up a lot, made it a lot bigger. But that's where I've probably had the biggest weddings in Bend, like
Okay,
250.
Do you feel like Brasada could also handle that, or has Pronghorn just set up better to have a larger?
I think Brasada could do 200. Yeah, I think the barn. Yeah, Brasada doesn't have like a big outdoor area that I could think of to fit a lot of people sheltered if it started to rain or something.
But
Because we get the
does.
random. Pronghorn does, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what tent company they use, but that tent's huge. I
Okay.
mean, it's almost like.
Because I've never seen a tent at
Gosh.
Brasada when I've been there.
Yeah, I mean, neither. I don't know if there's a space for it, but
Yeah.
the barn's pretty large. Yeah, they might be able to fit 200 people in there. We should ask Amanda. Amanda Claire and Co. She
Yep.
used to do their events. So
Okay,
But,
so that's Pronghorn, and now we're on to Black Butte.
yeah, Black Butte has the best mountain views. You've been there, right?
Yeah,
Have you
stunning.
been there? Yeah, the mountain view is insane. The only thing there is if it gets windy, it can be a little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
They redid their pool area and their bistro in like a real modern vibe, and then the lodge was kind of dated.
Very
and
much
then they
dated.
just demolished the lodge. And I've got a wedding there. Let's say it's April next year. So I'm guessing they're going to be done building this new lodge. And they got some renderings. It looks really neat. But
That's
but
awesome.
you're
'Cause
basically
that
just
one
like
place was pretty dated.
mm-hmm.
I never.
And there wasn't
Whenever I worked
an
there, you were
interior
always like
space.
getting married in the grass, and then outside reception, and you'd kind of swing in for food, and then they had that deck.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
it'd be
because
really
an
cool to see
outside
what they
reception
do.
there is dicey. You just don't know.
Yeah.
They've got heaters and stuff, but yeah. But I mean that mountain view is just you're looking right down at the mountains. It's kind of just in line with the Cascades,
The Three Sisters, right?
and- yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can see Washington down to Broken Top. I think there is a venue actually that I didn't have on the list. That's new. Pole Creek Lodge. Is it
Pole Creek, is that P.O.?
POLE. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've got it. Yeah, Pole
Lodge.
Creek Ranch.
Oh,
They
Pole Creek
were
Ranch.
an elk ranch years ago,
Yep.
and so they raised elk out there, and then it sold I think a couple years ago, and they reached out to me about doing a styled shoot and just getting on into weddings, and so I connected them with some planners, and we did a little styled shoot out there. But that place is going to have a lot of potential. It's kind of in the beginnings.
Where is
They're remodeling. It's where Sisters Coffee is,
Yeah.
like the north end of
Yep, yep,
Sisters.
yep.
If you were like go to Sisters and you were gonna go towards like is it the 126 that goes out? It's on the left, so it's like on the north end of Sisters. Like there's a new development kind of behind like Bimart and all that.
I know exactly.
It's a
what you're talking
huge
about.
ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this huge ranch that you always wonder what's going on there. And I mean, they've got a camel out there because I guess the old owner had a bunch of animals just for fun. So they've got this camel named Bubbles out there that lives with a bunch of goats.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that's photo op.
Totally sisters.
But they've got a huge barn, and then they've got a house that they just are remodeling right now. It's just kind of a nice home, but that backs up to like a field that you wouldn't even know you're in Sisters anymore. It's just an open field, like with trees and grass, and it just the mountains are right behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, the property is prime. It's beautiful. Then they built a barn or like a bar inside of their like corral area for their elk when they would corral the elk up. And so that's really unique. That's a whole different vibe, but they've got a lot out there. It's a big property. So that's going to be cool to see that develop, and shoot more events out there. But yeah, that could be a bonus one.
Perfect.
Pole Creek Ranch.
Creek, so 6. And then wrap things up with number 7, Smith Rock.
Yeah, Smith Rock's kind of they've got a amphitheater that fits up to 70, but the portraits there are just endless. You know, it's very unique. You know, I moved here to Oregon. I was like, I didn't know that existed in Oregon. It looks like something out of the Grand Canyon.
It's crazy
So
the first time you see it. You just don't
you're like,
expect it to be. Yeah, it feels very Colorado or Arizona.
yeah, it's a confined area, like, but it's big.
Yeah.
But like you drive out and you see it from a distance, but then when you get up and you just get out of the car, you walk 200 yards and you're just looking right down the canyon, and it's gorgeous. So they have a dedicated amphitheater there. Unfortunately, they do one event per day. I wish they would do multiple, like 2 per day, because you only use the ceremony site for an hour.
Yep.
And then you're going somewhere else. But they do open it up for that. And then you can also elope there if you're under 20 people. They don't really, if you're staying on trail, they don't really care. So a lot of my elopements are
kind of permits
under
for
20.
that? Being on Smith Rock.
They used to permit. They used to do permits for like, I think it was around 20 people, but then they stopped, I think, and they just said keep it under 20, I think is the last I heard.
Yeah.
I try and check in with them, but usually the person I'm talking to doesn't know everything.
Yeah.
The big thing now is they want you to stay on trail. That's the biggest, which is easy, you know. And then I haven't got on my website yet, but I did a shoot, like a portrait session for a couple, up on top and up Misery Ridge, which isn't that bad. It's not that bad of a hike, but up top it's vast. Like you can walk all over, and there's a lot of really cool opportunities. So
if you're really up for a hike, it could be a great option for you.
Yeah, and it's nice if you don't want to hike at all, you just walk right out. You're there. You're like, all right, you know, if you've got there's one spot there that has like a little landing, and it's open to the public, so you're kind of subject to whatever. And I don't recommend like bringing chairs or anything. I just recommend at most you could drop an arbor if you wanted to, but you don't need it because the backdrop's stunning.
Gorgeous. But
yeah, most everyone there just walk up, get married, and then portraits, and then dinner somewhere else. Like a popular spot is 10 Barrel East. They opened a huge facility here.
10 Barrel.
So they've got an event space now upstairs. That's great for like, you know, get married there, and then it's not too far. It's kind of on the north end of Bend, so it's a good spot. That's been most popular. Worthy is another one. There's a lot of places you can have like a 20-person dinner, no problem.
Yeah.
So a lot of breweries.
So you could get the beauty of Smith Rock, and then afterwards you could head somewhere with your guests and grab some kind of space for them.
Yep, and they're open late too. So like a lot of times in summer, I recommend if you're gonna elope out there, shoot closer to like 7 p.m. It starts to clear out around sunset because everyone there is mainly hiking or rock climbing, and so once the sun goes down, they're kind of done.
They start packing up, but that's like
and then it slows down. You get in there on a weekend, it's going to be a zoo. You're not going to find parking. So they used to dedicate like 5 spots to the amphitheater if you rented it. I don't know if they still do that. They might, but I think they stopped doing that. But yeah, if you're going to do a weekend, you definitely want to get the amphitheater, no matter how big or small you're aiming for.
And so then you'd have to sign up to get that. You'd almost recommend midweek at that point?
Anytime. Yeah. Because a weekend out there, if the weather's good, like
it's
busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even some weekdays in the summer, if it's, it's nice, or like It's not too busy, and like I shoot out there a lot in October because the weather's shifting here. So I'll do tons of family sessions out there, and it's not too busy. There is on the weekends in October it's busy because there's the right near that there's like a pumpkin patch corn maze deal. So Saturday, Sunday out there, everyone kind of doubles down. They go to the pumpkin patch and like, well, here, let's go out here to Smith Rock. Another thing to remember is it's just a $5 fee. So just make sure you pay that.
Yeah.
So, which is easy. I just buy the year pass for myself, but yeah.
So to wrap this up, those are Eli's, what we thought were 6, but now 7 top picks.
Yeah.
He has a great blog post for this, which I'll link below, where there's a whole lot more than that. So it's a really comprehensive list. So if you're thinking about getting married in Bend, then you have to pick a venue. He's going to have your best options unless you go for something just private at that point. Thanks so much for joining us. We're about to record another one about elopements, so I will link that in the video here. And thank you guys for joining. Thanks so much, Eli.
Yeah, good to see you.